Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the press. Let me announce to you that His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the Federal Republic of Nigeria will be visiting St. Lucia from the 28th of June to the 4th of July 2025. Two of these days, June 30th and July 1st, 2025, will be an official visit. With the remainder of the days will be a personal vacation for the President. As chairman of the OECS authority, I believe that the visit of the President of Nigeria represents a unique and historic opportunity to deepen the bonds between Africa and the Caribbean. As descendants of a shared heritage, the peoples of our region trace deep links to the African continent, particularly Nigeria. These long-standing cultural and historical connections compel us to continue nurturing and expanding our partnerships with Africa in ways that are meaningful, strategic, and sustainable. The engagement with President Tinubu represents a valuable occasion for heads of government, and I've invited all the heads of government from the OECS countries to visit St. Lucia at the time so we can have a formal engagement with the President of Nigeria. We hope to collectively explore avenues of cooperation in such areas as economic development, education, infrastructure, and diplomatic exchange. Details of the President's visit to St. Lucia will be given in due course by the Ministry of External Affairs. I also want to inform you that I, like most of you, read the article in the press of St. Lucia being on a blacklist. I want to inform you that we have had no official notification from the U.S. on any such matter. But we'll continue to work with our contacts and our embassies in Washington, in New York, and the Ministry of External Affairs will continue to explore avenues with the embassy in Barbados to ascertain whether there is any truth in the matter. We will remain engaged. The U.S. have been our friends. We continue to maintain a very high level of diplomatic engagement. We continue to work with the U.S. So we are monitoring the situation, and the public of St. Lucia will be involved. We will always speak the truth and tell them the exact nature of the story if there is any truth in it. But we've had no official notification from Washington or from the U.S. of any such listing. Can I take questions?
On another note, you attended the Brazil Caribbean Summit. Can you tell us?
Yes, I returned from St. Lucia to St. Lucia yesterday from the Brazil CARICOM Summit, where the President of Brazil invited CARICOM leaders for the second Brazilian CARICOM Summit. It was an engagement that dealt again with cooperation and the work we can do with Brazil. As you know, Brazil has got a very advanced food security, and St. Lucia signed an alliance to a global alliance for food security, which I signed with the President of Brazil. And the aim is that we improve the level of food security in the Caribbean, in the region as a whole. And in this regard, St. Lucia has begun to import meat products and chicken products from Brazil. The north of Brazil is known for the production of meat and chicken at affordable prices. And the work done by the Ministry of Agriculture, we've ensured that we can take all the sanitary conditions. We are importing food from meat and chicken from Brazil. We look forward to whether there's going to be a reduction in the cost of these products. And considering the fact that we've removed VAT and we've moved them in some instances. We've zero rated those that were exempt. We hope that we can see a reduction in the price of the meat and the meat products that come from Brazil. There was also discussions on disaster preparedness, how Brazil can assist in this regard. There were also discussions on renewable energy, in that we trying to reduce our carbon footprint and reduce the use of fossil fuels. We're going to be passing an Electricity Supply Act in the House very soon. So there's discussions on renewable energy, how Brazil can help us in this regard. There are also discussions on citizen security, and where we hope to get some assistance as far as that's concerned. It was a very fruitful meeting. The meeting was attended by the President of Brazil, and the CARICOM heads engaged in very frank discussions with him. Also tomorrow, I'll cease being the chairman of the OECS. It is, as you know, this is in terms of alphabetical order. St. Lucia, we have to yield to St. Vincent. So Prime Minister Ralph Gonzalez will become the president of the OECS. So I'll be traveling to St. Vincent tomorrow to officially hand over the chairmanship of the OECS to Prime Minister Ralph Gonzalez. There's also be a meeting of the OECS Assembly, which is a creature of the OECS, of the OECS agreement. So the Assembly will meet tomorrow morning in St. Vincent at 9 o'clock. The OECS Assembly will meet. Members of the opposition have been invited, and there'll be that meeting. And in the evening, there'll be the official handover of chairmanship of the authority to the Honorable Ralph Gonzalez, Prime Minister of St. Vincent.
Any questions?
Yes,
Mike?
yes, Mr. Prime Minister, just to touch back again on the blacklist issue, it seems to be a little bit concerning that this is not the first time that such a statement has been made. And this time it involves St. Lucia and among 6 OECS member states. The Gleaner newspaper, had it in the publication, and also with Marco Rubio, the U.S. Secretary of State, making a comment. So, do the island? Well, I don't have it exactly, but like a warning, issuing a warning, or that they have a time frame to put things in place. So, yeah. Okay.
The matter, the blacklist matter, did not come up. All I can tell you is there's been no official, and I've made that statement many times before. It's the same thing with our CIP program. There's been no official notification from the U.S. All the issues in St. Lucia were raised by one individual, joined the opposition, and they created these issues. We've been in constant negotiations, discussions with the Americans, discussions with the Europeans on our CIP program. As we speak, there is work going on for joint legislation for all being spearheaded by the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. We've always continued working to make our CIP program a CIP program that's transparent, a CIP program that is accountable. The noise in the CIP program has been orchestrated by one individual and the opposition. We remain committed to ensuring that we respect the wishes of the Europeans, who are our friends, who we work with, respect their wishes, and will do our best, do all we can do to ensure that our CIP program is transparent. I want to reiterate that the changes in our CIP program were not initiated by this government. We have seemed to forget that. The change in our CIP program was not initiated by this government. Historically, that is a fact. That all the changes in the CIP program, the changes that may be the reason, I want to use my words carefully, were not initiated by our government. And it's very important that we go back in history, because there's a tendency now for us to pretend to forget our history. When the CIP program was initiated in St. Lucia under Dr. Kenny Anthony, with discussion with the opposition, there was a task force formed with the opposition involved and the members of the private sector that caused the CIP program to be introduced in St. Lucia in the year 2016. When we lost the government in 2016, we had not issued once one passport. And if I'm wrong, I stand corrected. Probably you may have issued two, but I'm sure. In 2016, the government of the Labour Party had laid out certain criteria for the issuance of CIP, of citizenship on a citizenship by investment program. One of these was a net worth. One of these was a cap to 500 passports and a net worth. These were part of the requirements when we left government in 2016. And we have to refresh people's memories. The changes in the CIP program were initiated and effected by the government of the United Workers' Party. They were the ones who removed the network requirement, and they were the ones who removed the 500 limit. That is a historical fact. The hotel in Viewport, the first citizenships for that hotel were initiated by United Workers' Party. So I just want to tell you that the changes in the CI program were not done by us. It was done by them. That is a fact. You will hear a lot of noise and propaganda and misinformation and mistruths. That is a fact. But we are willing to trim our program in terms of making it acceptable, because we understand the economic benefits of the CIP program. So I want to assure the people of St. Lucia that our government will do nothing to jeopardize the CIP program, or nothing to jeopardize the transparency in the program. But we were not the ones who caused the changes in the CIP program. We are not the ones. And the young reporters should go back and do their history, and they will see what government changed the CIP program. What government did that?
Okay, just quickly. One of the concerns is that persons who have been rejected from the U.S. seek solace in these Caribbean islands. Are you?
And I want to also tell you that St. Lucia has never, we have none of the citizens of St. Lucia has never been involved, I want to use my words very carefully, as I've been misquoted, in any so-called scandal. Our due diligence has been, excuse my sinuses this morning, our due diligence has been so thorough that those who got rejected were rejected earlier on, but we've got no scandal. There's been no citizen of St. Lucia where a scandal with our passport. There's not been one. So it shows that our due diligence has been, in effect, very effective. Something can happen tomorrow. But I want to tell you something. There is nothing to rejoice. There is nothing to rejoice when St. Lucia's good name comes into question. There's nothing to rejoice about it. This country is about St. Lucia. It's not about the Prime Minister. It's about the country. And anyone who deliberately, for their own political, their local political motives, try to spoil the good name of St. Lucia, hoping that they will get into government, it will not help. We stand ready to discuss with everyone improvements in our program, improvements in St. Lucia. We understand the need for opposition, but we categorically reject the idea of burning the country to roll over its ashes. We reject it. We think it's wrong, and we think it is not sustainable, and no one will benefit. You must have heard the whole story about crime. It was almost a matter of rejoicing when there was a crime. I want to announce to you, I want to tell you, again, I'm not rejoicing, nor am I boasting. But the fact is, as at yesterday, the homicides in this country had been reduced in terms of homicides by over 10% reduction. Over 10%, I think it's 11 or 13% reduction in homicides in this country. Nothing to boast about. I'm not proud about it. But I want to tell you factually, there's been a reduction. Why has there been a reduction? You can say that has been done because of the investments we've done in law enforcement. And I hope that the police can continue to do what they have to do. I want to also tell you that the custody suites that's been criticized by the opposition is working magnificently. The police on the ground, they are happy with the fact that there is somewhere where they can bring suspects for interrogation and to keep them for the next day. And when the opposition tries to politicize the custody suites and pretend that it's a bad thing, and speak about dreams of having underground prisons, the police on the beat, they're the ones who feel it. And all how they try to discourage and to create a false narrative. What the opposition is doing is they want to create a false narrative, as if what exists in St. Lucia does not exist. So regardless of what they see that at Rodney Bay, they see it, that the hotels now have been demolished, and they're going to build 1,000 rooms on Rodney Bay. It can be seen, but they want to deny it happens. They can see at the Alia Hotel, they can see the construction happen there, but what they do, they try to push worker discontent, not the employment. And it's this government is the government that can speak about worker satisfaction. We are the government of the minimum wage. This is our government. So when you speak about protection of workers, the Labour Party government can stand firm historically on how we protect the workers in this country. Look at the history. And I always urge young reporters to look at the history and see what historically is fact as compared to political rhetoric or political misinformation. So I want to say to you that we will stand and we will defend our achievements. This government has a lot to be proud of. If you go to the country now, you will see 5 schools. 5. As we speak, not anything that I'm saying. You're going to see for yourself. Go to Anchipo, you'll see what's happening there. Go to Grand Riviere, you'll see what's happening there. Go to Vieux-Fort North, you'll see what's happening there. Go to Laris's Vieux-Fort, you'll see the schools. You'll see them being built. Go to Gros-Islet, you'll see the Northern Police Headquarters being built. You'll see the custody suites being built. The police are in Vieux-Fort in the new station. These are things we have done. So what I'm saying to you is not things that I imagine. So when the opposition tries their false rhetoric, trying to make you believe that nothing is happening in St. Lucia, look at the youth economy expanding. People from the region are actually coming to St. Lucia to see what we're doing as far as the youth economy is concerned. So this government, we stand on our achievements. We don't stand on what we wanted to do. We stand on our achievement, what we have done. We've given civil servants the largest pay increase from since the Labour Party was in government in 1979. Look at the increases that civil servants got before. So I'm saying to you that we stand on our record, and we're going to be asking the people of St. Lucia to judge us on our record. So where's the opposition tries to sell a false narrative? We are reducing the price of goods. We're moving on 70 products in the supermarket are going to become zero rated for VAT. Those that were standard become zero. Those who are exempt are going to become zero rated. 70 products. So these are tangible things. So you will see it at the supermarkets when you go. I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce who've been working with us. There's been a whole talk about fuel prices. We're going to be doing that at some other point. The issue of fuel prices, we're going to be dealing with it. We're going to show you the hypocrisy in some of these analyses. Because, I'll tell you something. You cannot dispute figures. St. Lucia's economy has experienced 4 years of successive growth. 4 years. Not growth that was said by me. Growth that was verified by the IMF, the CDB, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. All the people who measure economic development, economic growth, has said that St. Lucia's economy has been in a growth spiral for the last 4 years. That is a fact. So I'm very excited to deal with the analysis of St. Lucia's economy. Very excited about it. I don't profess to be an economist, but I'm excited as to the reality. My economics is the economics of improving people's quality of life. My economics is the economics of ensuring that mothers can send their children to school. That's what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in the economics of grand products and grandiose ideas and saying things that have absolutely no merit. My economics dealing with the times that we are dealing with. I say people want to go back into history. We can go back into history. We can go back into history and see who did what when, what conditions that existed at the time, what conditions that exist now. We can do that in history. We are not afraid for any economic argument. We're not afraid. We're not afraid of it because we know that our economic arguments are sound and they are based on facts, not on conjecture, on theoretical jargon, based on fact. So we're very excited about it. We're very excited. We're not going to be shying away from any debate on the economy. My tenure as Minister of Finance, the records will tell you. We have to ask some questions. What was the state of the economy in July 2021? These questions are going to be asked. That's the questions. And when I tell you the state of the economy, by those who profess to be economists, when I tell you the state of the economy in July 2021, and the state of the economy now, as we speak, at June 2025, compare it to July 2021, when this government inherited it. And we can have these discussions. So I'm very excited about debates on the economy. I mean, I don't profess to be any economist of any international thing, but my economics is the economics of practice, the economics of seeing that poor people improve their quality of life. My economics is the economics of ensuring that poor people's children can pay their CXCs. That's the economics I'm interested in. That's my economics. So I don't profess to be many economists who's worked in an international body. My economics is the economics of the people, to improve the people's quality of life. That's my economics. Questions?
Good afternoon, Mr. Prime Minister. Going back to the blacklist thing, with these rumors, some would say that St. Lucia would have to strengthen its ties with its global South partners, with untraditional friends, you might say. You just came from Brazil. what is your government's position on strengthening its bonds with other countries for the benefit of St. Lucia?
You see, elections have consequences. And I hope the people of St. Lucia know that elections have consequences. Elections have serious consequences, right? Now, when the people of the United States voted for the president, they knew the consequence. The president was clear as to what he wanted to do. He was clear. So who am I to dispute the president of the United States mandate? The people of the United States voted for the president. They voted for his mandate. I cannot criticize the president of the United States for what the people voted for. I can't. What I can tell you is we are improving and we expand. This is why the visit of the president of Nigeria is so important. The South-South connection. That's why we go into Nigeria. We've just appointed an honorary council, St. Lucian, to work with the Nigerian government. We hope discussions with the Nigerian government, we can look for trade operation to increase our trade, to increase our connections. So you're very correct. Brazil, another country in the south that we are working with. Cuba, under a lot of pressure, but we're working with them to see what's happening. But at the same time, we've maintained relationships with Taiwan. And this is the richness of our foreign policy, the maturity of our foreign policy. We are friends of all. What we seek to do is see about St. Lucia's interests, the interests of the people of St. Lucia. So we are improving our South-South relationship, but you're still friends with Taiwan. This is how we handle our foreign affairs.
Good afternoon, Prime Minister. Sticking with the topic of the U.S., there has been a freeze on student interviews for student visas. Has this affected our students looking to study in the U.S.?
Well, there's a freeze of international students. Because Lucia is an international student. You see, I'm amazed at the way the opposition tries their best to zero these things down to St. Lucia, all in the desire to burn the house, to rule over the ashes. If the President of the United States speaks about international students, St. Lucians are international students. So, St. Lucians, if the policy comes into effect, St. Lucians are going to be affected. But we again, sorry my silences, again, we are maintaining our contacts, we are maintaining our engagements to see how we can assist St. Lucia students. But if the U.S. has a policy for international students, how can St. Lucia be exempted from that? So it's very concerning. But we are looking into it. Very concerning to us, but we're looking into it. But again, I want to tell you, this is not targeted to St. Lucia. It's U.S. policy. Not policy against St. Lucia. There was a whole hue and cry about deportations. I say that is only for St. Lucia. It's not for St. Lucia. It's U.S. policy, U.S. geopolitical policy. So there's no benefit by the opposition celebrating. There's no benefit. I mean, you can always benefit, you can always believe you benefit when you celebrate at the demise of a government. But these policies are American policies, not policies designed for St. Lucia. We continue to have excellent relationships with the United States. Excellent.
Okay, final question from me. With ongoing tensions rising between Israel and Iran, are there any concerns for the price or the cost of gasoline going forward?
And I'm very happy you brought the price. I'm very happy you brought the price of gas. I'm very happy you did that. There are some people who pretend that we can deal with these prices. We cause the price of these things to happen. But again, historically, in the budget I announced that there was a ceiling on the price of fuel, that fuel would not cost more than $16 per gallon. I got a freeze on that. But I continued to subsidize cooking gas. I continue to subsidize now. The The analysis has never mentioned the fact that we continue to subsidize cooking gas. And that is, they have never spoken about the cross subsidies. So they have all the economic jargon, but they don't speak about the cross subsidies, which is also part of the economic jargon. But I profess I'm not no international economist. I raise my hand. My economics is about improving the life of poor people. That's my economics. But I'll tell you something. We continue to cross subsidize gas prices. So, whereas the price of fuel has been capped at $16, we continue to subsidize. So you have to work at the difference in see what is the value of the subsidy. We subsidize basic food stuff. And the minister told you, by $13 million, we subsidize that. So again, the cross subsidy. So the analysis of fuel prices, whereas it is very centered and is pretensive, it pretends as if there are no cross subsidies. There are cross subsidies. So even though the prices of fuel may remain what some people think should be lower, there are cross subsidies. I'll give an example. Supposing we reduce the price of fuel and remove the cross subsidy on cooking gas and remove the subsidy on food, what is the net effect? Tell the economists to work it out for you. If we do that and we put VAT on electricity and we put VAT on water, ask the economists to work out for you the net effect. They are the economists, not me. Tell them to work it out for you and look at the net effect. That's a homework I ask you as a young reporter, very promising reporter, to ask. And you say, I tell you something, I don't want to tell you what to do. Young reporters what to do. But you must call out these people when they make these statements. Don't allow them to get away with these statements and make it sound as if it's gospel. Ask them about the cross subsidies. Ask them about the subsidies for cooking gas. Ask them about the subsidies for basic food products. Ask them about the no VAT on electricity, no VAT on water. Ask them about these things. Tell them, when the mathematics is worked out, what's the net effect? That's the question. And look at the countries that they compare us to and say, what do these countries do as far as these things are concerned? When you have this debate, we can have a debate. I raise my hands and tell you what my economics is all about, making people's lives better.
We are on the verge of elections.
Are we?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Wow. The last time I heard elections, it will be 90 days after July 21st. 21st, 2026. Yeah. I'm very happy. Tell me. You've been in my thoughts? Or you've forgotten that I'm the only one who can call elections? I see people call elections all over the place. People calling elections, getting dates and things. So I guess sometimes they forget I'm the Prime Minister.
But I said on the verge. Yes. And one of the concerns that I have is I hear the opposition is pushing out war. They're pushing out violence. Actually, about 2 weeks ago, I was on a bus and I heard a driver speaking about going to war and assaulting the Prime Minister and things of that nature. And I am very concerned as a citizen, not just as a journalist, but as a citizen. Are you aware of those threats being made at your party? And what is the government ready to do concerning that? And what authority that you would give the police to make sure that this does not happen? Because we hear it on the platforms that they're pushing out violence, and on underground as well, you're hearing it in the public's eye. So what have you to say concerning that?
I am a child of God. I believe that no weapon formed against me shall prosper. My job is to improve the quality of life of the people of St. Lucia. I hear the threats, people tell me, but I'm focused. You see, what the intention is to cause me to go off focus. That's the intention. To cause me to take my eye off the prize. To cause me to stop to protecting and securing the victory. I'm focused on both protecting and securing the victory of the people. So I hear these threats. In fact, people tell me these threats. I want to inform you that I don't have a Facebook page. My people, my Facebook page to me. I don't go into Facebook. Sometimes I hear something, I see something, but I always write off against desperation and envy. That's what I write off against. I am willing to have any debate on the economy. I'm going to talk about the economy. Let's talk about the economy. I have seen some writings out on the economy, and I want to talk about that. You understand? But these threats and about being sick and being a dead person, but that's desperation. That's frustration. And it's going to get worse. Let me warn you. The desperation of the opposition is going to get worse because they cannot find a path to victory. The people of St. Lucia will not allow themselves to go back to where we were. And the opposition would like you to believe that there is no history. All of them are lily pure. They've never done anything in their life. They've been good to people. They haven't called people barking dogs. They've been very good to them. They haven't done anything. They're just people who came out nice and pure. Absolutely no sins. Yeah, they come from a place that no one was there before. They've never insulted people. They've never victimized people. They've never called people all kind of names. They've never done these things, They're nice and pure. They never put the economy in the tailspin that we found it in July. Never done that. They never sold 1,000 acres of land to lease them at 99 cents. Never done these things. Never. They're nice and pure. They are people who came from a place never heard before. People who come in there, but look at these people. Boy, this country is being ruled by these devils. We were never in government before, And there's just some miracle that these guys are in power. So I'm remaining focused. So what you get in Philip JPF is more work, more issues of creating a better life for the poor people of St. Lucia, building more railings. Because you have to understand what a railing means to somebody in Maynard Hill. You have to, so when we kind of, building railing, I didn't build a railing. It shows you the scorn and the contempt that is about for the people of St. Lucia. You know what a railing means to, I'll tell you something. Last month, 2 months ago, I built some railings in Independence City. One of the places in the country that have better set of housing. Go and ask the poor people there what the rating means to them. Go and ask them. But when we live in big cities and we drive in trains and air-conditioned cars and we have this life of opulence, we don't understand what the rating means. We don't understand it. So we can't say, rating. I built a rating. you understand? And this is all But you know what a rating means? Talk about Independence City. I can go and take a picture. Go see that rating. Go see it. What this lady coming from the market, when the bus drops her in the road, when she has to carry it up, look at what that rating does to her. The rating, she has to go to her home. Talk to her. And talk to her about that rating. And it shows you how these people are lost in reality. They're so full of themselves that they've lost the reality. They don't understand what's happening in the country. You understand? I will continue to build more railings. If you want to see railings, wait for railings. You're going to build more railings because we are trying to improve the life of regular people, not life of opulence and life of driving in big cars in big cities and going to international meetings and talking things that never benefit the people of St. Lucia. That's not what we're about. We're about improving the lives of the people of St. Lucia. So I'll tell you something to come back to your question. So all these threats and all these innuendos and all that desperation will never stop me from keeping my eye on the prize to improve the lives of the people of St. Lucia. And we do it every day. The Minister of Education will make an announcement about the one university graduate per household. He's going to make an announcement soon. You understand? So I'm very excited about what's happening. And I'm very excited the fact that we have a desperate opposition that is trying to do. I mean, some of the things that people tell me they say, because, you know, I don't have any time to listen to a lot of these things. People tell me these things. You understand? So some of the things I hear they say, some of the things I pick up on the radio, it actually pleases me. Because I see I'm the source of focus. They focus at me. I mean, when guys have gone so far to create whole areas in my name. I mean, this is actually fascinating. You understand? So when they believe that they hurt Philip J. Pierre, they're hurting the people of the country. My job. I don't come into this job with any grand ideas or grand plans. People speak about big ideas and big plans. What's a bigger plan, a bigger idea than education for poor people? What's a bigger plan than that? What's a bigger plan? What's a bigger plan than ensuring that mothers, that they no longer have to pay the utility fees so they can send their children to school? What's a bigger plan than that? A bigger plan is not a building. Of course we're doing buildings too. We're doing the House of Justice. We're doing the police, the police headquarters in Grosley. We're doing buildings. We're doing housing. Of course you have big plans. But our focus is to improve the quality of life of the people of St. Lucia. And I'm ready for the challenge. I'm up for the challenge.
John, you have a question? One more question after John.
Mr. Prime Minister, on the economy, your administration has outlined that over 70 food items will be VAT exempt. And it appears that your government has taken the policy position to at least stop levying the VAT as much as possible when necessary. How do you compare your performance with that of the former administration that campaigned in 2016 on a total removal of VAT, but that never materialized? So you would have them campaigning on a total removal of VAT that never materialized, yet it is your administration that has at least gone the step further to remove VAT on as many items as possible.
But John, the proof of the eating is in the pudding, right? Now, the achievements of my government are tangible. The last government reduced VAT by 2.5%. Try and recall, what did that do to the economy of the country? Just think about it. Tell me any housewife who will tell you they went to some market and the price of anything went down. Think about it. Just think, and I tell you something. When you hear this foolishness about high inflation, cost, and trying to blame the government, the Central Labour Party for food prices, let's go back to VAT. And when you open up these doors, you want me to stay and talk to you for about 5 hours, according to the Minister of External Affairs, for 40 days and 40 nights. Because these things are so, they bring back a lot of memory that the opposition would like us to forget. They say they reduced VAT by 2.5%. Tell me, what impact did that have on food prices in the country? Difference with me. I'm going to make items zero rated, and there's going to be an immediate impact. That's the difference. So my policies can be felt. My policies can be felt. And I've made the point, once the price does not go up, once the cost doesn't go up from the source market, the price will go down here. Must happen. What happened when they reduced VAT? Ask the question. So when these people write these things and come and play as if they came from heaven, ask them, what was the effect of the policies? Did the price of anything go down when they reduced VAT? Ask the question. And these are the questions we have to ask. What was the effect, apart from the government losing millions of dollars in revenue, what was the effect to the housewife when VAT was reduced? It's not very long ago. And again, I always tell people, fact check. Look at the facts. Look at the facts. But look at the facts that happen now. with our policies. I'm saying to you that the costs, once the cost, and even though the costs go up from the important country, when it comes here, the price will be less than 12.5% for these items.
Good morning, sir. How you doing? I wanted to ask your opinion on something. On the Balance Bay issue. Last week, I had a little meeting with a little interview with the opposition leader on Jeremy Street, and I had the opportunity to ask him what he would do different. And his thing was that the Marjorie Lambert situation in Casaba, where Marjorie got $1.3 million and a house and a building, set the standard for what should happen at Balance Bay. Now, I would try to confront him with the fact that there's some false equivalency there. Marjorie had a lease, for example, so she had a legal right to be there, and that there are some other factors that make it not the same thing. But he's pointing also to Mary at Rodney Bay, the lady with the restaurant, the little restaurant and bar at the south end of Rodney Bay, saying that like she doesn't even know what deal she's getting, that kind of thing. I want you to know your Mary Terrace. You know when you're at the Rodney Bay Beach on the ramp, at the south end.
Where Rex used to be.
At the south end, way south, where that pink building, where Island Resorts, on that side of the beach. Right. So I wanted to ask your opinion on that. Why wouldn't the people at Balance Bay be able to get?
You ever ask him what I'm the Black Bay farmers? You see, I'll tell you something. I'm amused sometimes at what the opposition brings. I'm amused because their history, I'm amused because history has been such a bad, creates such a bad precedent for the opposition. That's something I wonder, and that's why they want to create that false narrative. Now, the Balance Bay situation. The minister, the parliamentary rep is going to it, Slasma is going to it. But, you're very correct. And again, probably it's part of our government's lack of giving people necessary information. That's probably part of our problem. The people in Balance Bay were not told anything. It wasn't a recent thing, There were studies. There were sociologists. There were people talking about business plans. They were told what is going to go there. They weren't just put out. They were told what's going to go there. The fishermen were told what will happen to them in the future. There were discussions. But for raw politics, you think any of these members of the opposition would like to be living in these conditions? Face it. Do you think that the leader of the opposition would like his child to be brought up in Balance Bay under these conditions? But right now, for political reasons, to appear as if he's on the side of the poor and the depressed, he makes these pronouncements. Look at his history. And that is what is always thinking against them, their history, what they've done, saying that people can stay hungry during COVID. People will not die if they have no food. History. Forgot that.
Are you pointing to the fact that your government negotiated something like $1.3 million from Marjorie, where his negotiated $300,000 to $400,000?
The government, the Labour Party, had absolutely nothing to do with negotiations between Marjorie and Cabot. Nothing. Make it clear. So again, it's a false narrative. It's the same narrative of falseness. The Labour Party had nothing to do with these negotiations.
Do you think it's possible that, let's say you were in opposition and he was in power, do you think, given the state of St. Lucia's economy, the state of the government's finances, that it's possible that we could have found $78 million somewhere to pay for...
You must ask him that. You must ask him that. You must ask him that. You must ask him these questions. And these are the false narratives that are being purported by the opposition. The false narratives, the falsities. As if the balance-based situation was something that's been started for a long time ago. But all I want to ask you is to ask the opposition, would they like their children to be brought up in Balance Bay under the conditions? Ask them that. People who said that people should go and demonstrate in Marchand. Remember? People who said that Marchand wasn't a good place for jazz because of the type of people there. Forget that. Again, you must remember these things. Members of the press and the public, you must remember these things. Marshall was only good for demonstrations. Okay? The STEP program was bad. Right? The subsidies on flour, sugar, and rice who did not benefit anybody. But are the same people talking about reduction in gas prices. These are the paradoxes in the opposition's arguments. And to cloud these arguments, they make a lot of noise, a lot of threats, a lot of things to threaten and frighten people. A lot of things for revenge. You understand? But I want to tell you that the people of Balance Bay will get the best possible deal under the circumstances.
One more question, please.
One more question, please. I read an article this weekend about gas prices.
Oh, we did that.
Yes.
They had a long time ago. Get the tape. We did it all morning.
I will go to the tape. What I wanted to ask was, is there any merit to, I heard somebody talking about the fact that St. Lucia is the biggest economy, and that we have to keep things at that level in order to not overheat the economy for the benefit of the other islands, because we're in a currency union.
No. St. Lucia is the largest economy. But I want to tell you something. After COVID, the largest economy did the worst after COVID. Find out who was working in the Ministry of Economic Affairs. Okay, fine. All right. That's again, when we come with this big, anytime you put yourself up for public office, you must be open to scrutiny. You must understand that. There is once you put yourself up, look at how they've scrutinized me. Look at things they've said about me. Look at what the things they've done, they've tried to do to me. I'm not perturbed because I have a purpose. So anytime, you must remember what you did. Remember where you worked. Remember what you stood for. Remember where you are now.
So Prime Minister, when are you going to do your walk through the Castries market, eat food, and when are you going to do that? What do you make of?
I have constant contact with people in the market. I don't have to do that. I've told you this already. I've told you all. I am a man of the people. I don't have to pretend I'm a man of the people. Anytime I go home, I pass through the people. Anytime I go home, any path I take to my home, I pass through the people. Let me give you an example. If you might know, because you might probably have left it too long ago. Or some of you might know where. Might know. Let me to go to my home, I have to pass through Marchand. Let me tell you the route to my home.
Yeah, that's a security reason.
No, they're not. To go to my home, to go to my home, let me tell you the route I can take. I can either pass through Marchand, through Leslie Land, through Waterworks, through Cedars, or through Bocage. Yeah, man, if you want that. So, they see me every day. Anytime I go to work, they see me. I don't head up north or go in a boat or in a helicopter. I go home. So I don't have to pretend. You see, these acts of pretense and put a cap on my head and do see. I don't have to do that. There's no need for me to. I'm a man of the people. You understand? The people know me.
That's where you live in.
That's why I live with them. You understand? And I can show you where I lived before and where I live now. I'm a man of the people. I don't have to pretend. There's no need for me to pretend. And that's what irks them. And wonder why I can win my seat for 6 times and win a 7th time and an 8th time if I want. That's what irks them. So they talk about my sick. They say I'm sick, I'll be dead. Doesn't worry me. The people understand that. The people. You understand? So I tell you something. When you criticize me for winning my seat 6 times, you are criticizing the people who elected me. Not me, you criticize, the same people who elected me, you criticizing them when they're elected for 6 times? You know, so it's something. I tell you something, Jason. I'm focused. I'm happy where the country is going, and I'm happy for the support that we get from the people of St. Lucia. That support.
I wanted to ask a bonus question. No. On the 27th, you have a big rally on the 27th. Are you bringing the bell?
27, we have a big rally on 27. Huge. Have a good day.